Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I rise to speak on this motion, which is very important, covers some very important topics for my electorate of Monash, and I follow some fine contributions by my colleagues on this side of the chamber, the members for McPherson and Goldstein, who I know feel very passionately about this issue. It's core to Liberal values, and that is the right to build a life, raise a family and own your own home. Home ownership is not just an economic decision, it's about belonging, and it's about being part of a community. And in my community, in my part of the world, in the Monash electorate, this is particularly important in areas like Bass Coast Shire Council and Wonthaggi, where we've got rapid population growth. That population and that infrastructure is not keeping pace with that population growth. And in Baw Baw Shire, which the demographer Bernard Salt has written extensively about, it's Warrigal and Druin are the fastest growing towns in Australia over a 10-year period, and so we need new infrastructure, we need new housing. And at the recent election, I was really pleased to be able to secure some commitments on behalf of the coalition to help unlock infrastructure that would provide more homes, more affordable homes in our region. But this issue is also about Australians who invest in their own future more broadly, Australians who work hard, who pay their bills and raise a family. It's about a future that people can believe in and a future where hard work pays off and dreams are within reach. The Coalition is, and always has been, the party of home ownership. And I reflect on our founder, Robert Menzies. When he returned to the Prime Ministership in December 1949, he made home ownership a core part of his post-war vision for Australia. We on this side of the House understand what it means for young people to be able to take that first step into the property market. But that first step is becoming further and further away for so many young people these days. Speaker, I understand the frustration that so many Australians, particularly in my own electorate of Monash, feel when that dream is pushed out of reach by poor policy, pushed out of reach by a Labor government defined by waste and mismanagement. Today, that dream of home ownership has never been more under threat. Deputy Speaker, under Labor, the great Australian dream of owning a home is fast becoming a nightmare. Let me be clear, Australia is in the middle of a housing crisis. But this is not a crisis caused by some uncontrollable global force. It's a crisis caused directly by decisions of the Albanese Labor government. In just 3 short years, Labor has presided over the biggest population surge Australia has seen since the 1950s. 3 consecutive years of record immigration, hundreds of thousands of new people added to our population every year at a time when housing construction has plummeted. They've increased demand through record migration, which simultaneously stifling supply with bureaucracy, red tape and economic mismanagement. It's the worst possible combination. More people, fewer homes, higher prices, longer wait lists and growing despair. Just ask one of the young tradies that I spoke to recently in Moe, who is now saving for his first home, but that feels further and further out of reach. Or ask the young growing family in Leongatha I met with recently, trying to make that jump from renting to owning. That gap is getting further and further apart. Ask the young couple in Bass Coast who work day and night and shouldn't have to rely on the bank of mum and dad. I've spoken with many young Australians in my electorate of Monash who explain to me how they've done all the right things. They've studied hard, they've saved hard, they've worked long hours, and many of those are actually working multiple jobs to make ends eat. And they're still left asking, will I ever get to own my own home? And this is, Deputy Speaker, the legacy of Labor's housing policies. They haven't just failed to fix the crisis, they've actually made it worse. Deputy Speaker, Labor's housing policies are incoherent. In one breath, they say they want to cut red tape, but in the next they want to become the nation's largest mortgage insurer. You're either for the private economy, fewer bureaucracies and getting government out of the way, or you're not. Labor clearly isn't. In their first term alone, the Albanese Labor government introduced more than 5,000 new regulations, including over 1,500 in the Treasury and infrastructure portfolios. No, it doesn't. It doesn't help at all. 400 new laws, all of which come with a staggering $4.8 billion compliance cost to the economy. And it's my community and my constituents in Monash who are feeling it the most. Local builders are tied up in paperwork instead of building homes. Local councils, and I work closely with Bass Coast Shire Council, Baw Baw Shire Council, I acknowledge the City of Latrobe and South Gippsland Shire Council. They are trying their best with an overstretched infrastructure base and limited resources, but they are overwhelmed with compliance demands. And only 3 years ago, in 2022, Labor massively expanded the National Construction Code, a code which now runs to nearly 3,000 pages, referencing more than 150 Australian standards, each at least 50 pages long, often cross-referencing thousands more. This is Labor's version of cutting red tape. And when the Coalition called for a freeze on the NCC to give our builders, including those going to work right now today across the Monash electorate, the breathing room so that they so desperately needed, Labor accused the Coalition of wanting to build shoddy homes. Now Labor are calling for the same freeze. Labor's obsession with red tape in housing is just one symptom of a much bigger problem. While communities like mine in Monash are paying the price, Australia has now dropped 5 places in the IMD World Competitiveness Rankings. We sit at 37th in the world for business efficiency. That tells you everything you need to know. Labor made a big promise: 1.2 million new homes by 2029 under their National Housing Accord. But like so many of their promises, it was long on ambition and short on actual delivery and outcomes. Leaked Treasury advice has confirmed what Australians suspected all along. This target simply won't be met. The Labor government doesn't have a plan, and communities like mine in the Monash electorate are paying the price for it every day. Speaker, so often in this place we can be quite easily caught up on the material cost, but what we all do in this place matters, and in particular, when speaking on a topic like this, it can be easy to forget that there is very much a human cost to Labor's housing crisis. This is unfortunately becoming increasingly evident every day. Under Labor's watch, homelessness isn't improving. In fact, it's going the other way and getting worse, and I see this every week in my electorate of Monash, where people are doing it incredibly tough right now. Just last month, Homelessness Australia told the ABC that the current crisis is the worst in living memory. The number of people needing homelessness services has surged by 10% since Labor came to office in May 2022. For women and girls, that figure is even more alarming, with a 14% increase in just 2 years. These aren't statistics. These are mums who are now sleeping in cars. These are young Victorians, young Australians who are being pushed further and further to the edge. Deputy Speaker, the Coalition understands that housing isn't just about the economy. It's about dignity, about stability, about having a safe place to call your home. A home that belongs to you, that means you have a stake in our nation too. I know how serious the homelessness crisis is, especially for the most vulnerable in our community. I'm also cognizant that the situation is getting worse in towns across Australia. However, unlike Labor, I'm focused on practical solutions, and so is the Coalition. That's why I'm here, to help others, because Victorians are doing it tough across West and South Gippsland, and they don't have time for more broken promises. They need action, not excuses. Australians were told that this would transform housing supply, ease pressure on the rental market and support the most vulnerable in our communities. But 2 years on, we're still asking the same basic question: how many homes has it actually built? The government doesn't seem to know and doesn't want to seem to say. This is
think,
what I will fight for every day. Thank you.
Time's expired.